don't think we'll ever get to the end of the partisan debate about what really happened on January 6th. And now that Tucker Carlson has unfettered access to hundreds of hours of raw security footage, it's safe to say our country will never be the same.
And from this, we learn two things. One, you're getting close to what they really care about. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is it so important that they would degrade themselves by telling such obvious lies and calling for censorship? Why? What are they trying to protect? That might be worth exploring, and we plan to. And the second thing that we learned from this is that they're on the same side. The Senate Majority Leader joins the Senate Minority Leader. Tom Tillis, Mitt Romney. They're all on the same side. So it's actually not about left and right. It's not about Republican and Democrat. Here you have people with shared interests.
So this is actually a fascinating segment of Tucker's show, as he quite literally erases the barrier between left and right and claims that there's a different enemy of the people. And this would be super compelling. Is Tucker finally going to call out corporate greed and the complete and full-hearted elite takeover of Washington that perpetually sidelines the working class?
So it's actually not about left and right. It's not about Republican and Democrat. Here you have people with shared interests. The open borders people, the people like Mitch McConnell who are living in splendor on Chinese money.
And then he brings up that Democratic senators want open borders, and he just totally blows up any compelling narrative he may have been starting to thread. That's what Tucker does. He starts an us versus them narrative that honestly sometimes isn't too far off from some of the best progressive leaders of our day, like Bernie Sanders and Nina Turner, but then he backs off because he knows exactly who is paying his checks. The very same people he is lambasting against on TV.
I mean, you would think, like, the conventional way to see it is left versus right, Republican versus Democrat. Well, if that's true, why is the New York Times doing like a 9-part series on how Mitch McConnell got so much money from China? They would never do that because he's on their side. It's so great. It's all very obvious now. Steve Krakauer, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
The Murdoch family, who have wrestled control over Fox News, have literally borrowed millions of dollars from Chinese state banks, but sure, keep going and paint your picture of how your show, your network, is uniquely unbiased. I don't know, Tucker, if you're so hell-bent on exposing Mitch McConnell and his ties, you are someone who could do that. You have a team of researchers on your payroll and people whose literal job it is to pursue and publish stories like this. Tucker is just flying high and mighty after McCarthy gave him the hundreds of hours of January 6th footage, but it's insane to think that anyone would believe the parts that he selected to air are anything other than subjective, cherry-picked moments to paint an entirely different picture of the rioting at the Capitol. The scary part is, though, is how many Republicans have backtracked from a near universal condemnation at the time of the attacks. Kevin McCarthy himself at the time said that, quote, "Let me be clear, last week's violent attack on the Capitol was undemocratic, un-American, and criminal." And now he's handing it all over to one of the most partisan figures in the country. As I said, we are probably never going to move on from discussing what happened on that day and rather providing more transparency, as McCarthy was dumb enough to think. This whole Tucker Carlson thing has just made everything muddier and more disgusting as Carlson drags the American people through the mud. If you want to check out more of my coverage on the breakdown, stay right here. You can watch my latest video of Trump supporters being banned from a DeSantis book event by clicking on the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.